Resistance at 32 for a while now. False break. Wait, no. RSI's at 30. Tight build up. 30 to 32. No way. Holy shit. It's coming.
Hey, so, what did you like today, guys? Market down 400, then up 800, then, sideways job owning, got the Fed, inflation's running rampant, and Jamie Dimon's even spewing some stuff. So, so what are you going to do, But don't worry, guys. We have it all covered here, Stock Talk Live. And we're going to talk about AMC as well, so don't worry about it. Hit the post. What a day, huh?
It's crazy, man.
I mean,
I almost named the episode like, okay, so things just go backwards now.
I know.
Bad news comes out about inflation and market's up.
It was weird because the market. So, I mean, first off, what a day! Like, honestly. So, for all those who don't know, like, it hit the wire this morning that Great Britain, and this is just might as well just go 9 to 4. Hey, what the heck? From your market day, hits the wire this morning like 8. I was on the train. Prime Minister of Great Britain. I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she, said basically I believe the tax cuts got revoked in England. Or the proposed tax cuts. They did a complete 180 on that. So the British bonds go,
Liz Truss,
yeah. So Liz Truss hey, revokes the tax cuts. Hey, all's good. The pound's up. British bonds are up. All's right. The market jawbone for the first time today. The futures were down. Then they moved up until about like 8. I don't know, about 8:30. Then the CPI comes in, and the CPI came in hotter than expected, and I was a little surprised. I thought today might be the day where we get below a little bit expectations, but hey, that's not working out. So then you have your second jawbone of the day. Market immediately collapses 500 points. Everything's fucking red, and it was looking like a bad day. It really was.
I'm getting alerts on my phone. Fox Business market Dow down 400.
I know, and the market. And then
that was just the morning.
That was just the morning. So then it was around like 11 o'clock. I think the market was down about 500. And then there was some ECB headlines that came out. With bond. I think it was buying bonds. I'm not 100% sure. Then the market just started, grinding higher. And grind higher we did. I mean, by 1 o'clock, it was just off to the races. I mean, everything was up today. Freaking energy was up. Consumer staples were up. Freaking ExxonMobil was up. I mean, stocks that were have gotten hammered in the past. Now all of a sudden we're up 500, 600, 700. And then into the close, up 800 points. Oil's up. Everything was up. GME's up to the green light. Yeah, dude. I mean,
barely. Less than 1%, but still green today.
You gotta take your wins.
Somebody's listening to our show because we said last week to hate that red light, and now we got a green on a Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like what I mean, with all this stuff, with everything that's going on, it's like it's really tough to make sense of it for a lot of reasons. I think the first reason probably is the fact that when you look at usually when tax cuts are rescinded, it is not a driver of economic growth over, in England and Great Britain. So it's very hard, but we're living in this time where, the currency that caused Great British pound to finally get on a little bit of a rally and the bonds to start rallying, which is what they need because, all their pension funds are basically invested. The Great Britain pension funds have been selling off assets all week because they've been told you got to get rid of this shit. It's tomorrow that they're stopping. To get rid of it in 3 days. So I mean,
that's why I get your popcorn ready because tomorrow should be an exciting day in the market.
I know
it's getting spicy.
It's definitely I mean, it is. And then you had you had the CPI. I mean, I think when people look at this, I think the market went up for two reasons today. And this is just my personal opinion. I think a lot of people look at it like, hey, it's not going to get any worse from here. And they're pinning their hopes on that fact. No, they are. Because that's the only logical argument that you can make. Is like, today's inflation number, hey, that's the worst it's going to be. I'm gonna hang my ticket on that, That's one way to play it.
My boss is always asking me how much further I think the market has to go down. I said there's a long way to go down. She keeps insisting that I'm gonna lose another 5%. Her portfolio. She's expecting a 5% drop. I said 5%. Like we got a long way. I think we're going back to 2020 levels, like pre-pandemic drop.
Yeah,
That's me.
No, I totally get that. I mean, a lot of the, I guess like a big question for the viewers and whatnot is like, what changed today?
Right.
Like, what economic driver changed? And that's a real statement. I mean, you look at tomorrow the big banks are gonna report earnings tomorrow. That's gonna be a heck of a little scope into how the third quarter's going. And I don't know. It's just not. I don't think anything changed. I mean, I think if you're going to I think it's stupid to hang your hat on something that basically is saying, hey, you know what? We have inflation under control. There's no data to freaking support that. And, if people want to hang their hat on that, then that's great. But nothing's really changed. I mean,
still over 8%.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to notice prices are just getting hiked on everything. And I'm really starting to notice hey, this used to cost this much and now I'm paying noticeably more.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
eggs is a big one. Started buying for lunch meat, buying ham because it's cheaper.
Yeah, I mean the Boar's Head deli meat's like $16, $17 a pound for
the that's outrageous.
Yeah, I mean,
should be able to get like a crummy prosciutto for that price.
Yeah, no, I mean,
former deli worker.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. The other thing too is someone on my Instagram, someone posted a picture of their first oil bill, and for the viewers, I'm not gonna go into what he said. It was a lot of colorful language, more than I've used in the past 8, 9, whatever 9 minutes we've used, but people are just starting to pay that. So growing economy, I don't know. I mean, we're just starting to see the Fed. I think now the first rate hike was in March. I mean, that effect is just starting to be felt in the economy. I mean, I don't know. It's not, oil's starting to get on bulls on parade again. I mean, oil's been up for a while. Heating oil hit $5.29 a gallon. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I'm not seeing it. But the other thing too that kind of came today is, I mean, how much of this was just short covering? And I genuinely wonder that. With a short don't roll,
I think I got oh yeah, our friend.
Chris and you, I think, are in the camp that you weren't fooled by that summer rally in terms of a new bull? Do you think it's a rally within a bear market?
We thought it was a bear market rally. You look at what really was driving that rally, there were a couple of different things, right? So the first was a lot of short covering.
Kristen Bitterly, our old friend. Haven't seen her back on CNBC. Haven't watched as much, but
yeah. I in the office today, I went by CNBC and somebody said, I mean, I can't really take the clip on my phone, but but they said, "Do you think inflation's tamed?" And then, the guy they had on, I forget who, but he said, there's some people, economists in his firm, that think, hey, the Fed is going to have to raise interest rates up to 6, 7, 8% to really tame inflation. I mean, there is like the Larry Summers school of thought on that, which is crazy. I mean,
yeah.
It'd be great to get 8%, interest over its citizens. I mean, what's up? Get I don't know, get some Victoria, some wafers on interest, and get some high noons from me. I mean, crazy times here, guys. But no, I mean, there is a school of thought that thinks that, and
Yeah.
with the terminal interest rate going up and whatnot. I mean, we can get into more about there's other parts of the market action, but I know you want to get into this. I mean, the hit jobs on AMC and all those stocks this week. I mean, come on.
So I had 2 clips from CNBC this week. We had a caller to Kramer's show. Luann in New Jersey calls to talk about BlackBerry, and Kramer switches the topic to something she didn't call about. I don't know why. Maybe you can figure out why.
Luann in New Jersey. Luann.
Booyah! Hey, Jim, thanks so much for teaching me about the wonderful world of stocks.
Thank you. It's been so darn hard. Thank you. How can I help?
Yeah, so I bought BlackBerry BB about a year ago, and, they're partnering with Amazon, they're getting into electric vehicles, they're, the big pivot, right, from that awesome little keyboard they used to have on the mobile phones, but...
Right, but you know what, I've been against them the whole way down, and they're losing money. The memesters were against me on this. They're against me on AMC. They're against me on GameStop. They really hate me, and you know what? I kind of like that masochist Philadelphian. Doesn't bother me. So I say we avoid BlackBerry. We avoid, GameStop. I don't know what they're doing, their crypto. And AMC, I don't know. I guess we were right.
Just kind of shoehorn that in. She didn't ask about that, dude.
No, no, not at all.
And she went through a call screener like, "Hey, Luann, thanks for listening to the show. What do you want to talk about?" "I want to talk about BlackBerry," and he just switches the topic.
It's really sad, I think, because I think a lot of people, Mad Money definitely, was like the dialogue of some, of a lot of investment houses, and CNBC in general was the background noise from a lot of investment houses in trading floors and whatnot. It's what you listen to, like it was.
Yeah.
I mean, Marina
places it's just on in the kitchen at work.
Yeah,
24/7, unless there's like a Q's game going on or something.
No, exactly. Or one time at one of my works, someone threw on the freaking 5th race of the Breeders' Cup, on the Friday before. But hey, that's it's not financial talk. Anyway, and I guess where I'm going with this is that Mad Money was one of those shows you definitely watched at night. But I think what really stinks is that people are calling in. They are genuinely interested in what they're want an opinion about it, and definitely to promote some agenda. God only knows how long Luann waited for. And she's just like looking for looking for a genuine opinion. I don't really think it's time. I mean, if you don't like certain stocks, fine. But if someone calls in, at least acknowledge their call, acknowledge why give some solid reasons why don't you like it.
Right.
I don't understand why you would do that. And also, like BlackBerry, I don't group that as a quote unquote meme stock.
It was in
No, I
like
understand that, but-
2020, 2021.
Yeah.
My hypothesis was that it got lumped in with like Bed Bath & Beyond was in there back then too.
Yeah.
And because the tickers are so similar, BB, BBBY, and Best Buy was even kind of moving in the same basket.
Yeah.
I think Best Buy's BBY.
Yeah, I think. Let me just check on my phone. Oh.
I do remember BlackBerry was moving in that meme stock basket. Likes of COS is one,
Yeah.
AMC, GME.
Yeah, it's just. So it's. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why. Like, there's just this, movement against it. I mean,
I do.
Oh, I know you do. I mean,
It's market manipulation, and Kramer actually brings up GameStop again in this clip, a longer clip. I apologize, but he brings up GameStop, kind of forces it into the conversation one more time, and then he begins talking about Bitcoin. And I think that what he says about Bitcoin in this clip can and does apply to GameStop as well. Let's take a listen to Kramer.
Coles, how's what doing?
GameStop. I saw Jeffrey's
I
had a
haven't
note
looked
that
at
was kind of
GameStop in
positive.
quite some time.
Kind of positive. Hey, did Ryan Cohen?
There it is.
Did he get in and get out in Bed Bath and do okay?
Yes, he did.
There you go. Somebody made money.
He made a lot of money.
And people follow him right over a cliff.
They did. Continue to. He's had a lot of success in a lot of ways, and he's a very wealthy man. Very wealthy young man.
He didn't go over the cliff.
No, he stopped, and a lot of others went.
Let's just understand each other. When you find out that the CPI is not as bad as the higher expectations, then Amazon will not be at 106. It'll be at 120. And you'll say, why didn't I wait and just buy it after things settled down? Because that's how the market works. And I've been around admittedly started trading in 1979, and there's a pattern. And the pattern is people get very excited before they should, and then they get very despondent when they should be excited. It's not that hard. It's not.
We do have, I am curious, Jim, even when futures were much higher, Bitcoin was not hanging on. And at these levels, if we revisit 18K, that's going to take you back to, 2020, basically.
Well, I think that it's a manipulated security, and it will be held at a certain level in order for it not to be broken. When I say it's manipulated, it's not regulated by anyone. When things are not regulated, they tend to be manipulated.
All true.
Telling statement there.
What time in the morning was that? Was that in the
I don't
afternoon?
know.
Yeah.
He was definitely being sarcastic, asking if Ryan Cohen made it out all right. Because we played previously, I deleted it out of here, but he was calling for Ryan Cohen to be subpoenaed.
Yeah. I don't get that.
I believe in Ryan Cohen. And this week he actually broke his Twitter silence. So I mentioned the 741 theory. These numbers keep coming up in GameStop stuff. I don't recall what that's called when you start seeing the same thing all the time. Like, what was that movie 23 or something like that? 22.
Yeah.
But we were looking for one tweet in September from him to keep up with that 741. We didn't get it, and he's been quiet on Twitter for over a month, and he popped back in over the week, or it was earlier this week, just to shit on the Fed. I thought that was bullish. That was Tuesday night, I believe. Or no. Wednesday night. Tuesday night, because it was green yesterday, and I was expecting a run up after that tweet. When he tweets, people tend to buy. I mean,
yeah, no, it's a sign.
Call it market manipulation if you want. Him breaking a month long. He hasn't tweeted in a month, and he comes back and shitting on the Fed. I think it's funny, and I don't know. For me, it was bullish. And it was green the next 2 days.
What did he say about the Fed? I missed it.
Let's pull him up.
Yeah, no, I mean, talk about Did you know that today, like, not to jump around, but I guess at one point today, like odds of 100 basis point hike in November got up to like 20%.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it's just. I mean, we can talk about it later. Just one of those things.
He tweeted twice. So he said, low interest rates may prove to be like easy sex, tempting, but possibly fatal. And then a few hours later, he tweeted, I think my tweets are being suppressed. And you can obviously infer that by my tweets, he's talking about the stock price.
Yeah. The first off, he's not wrong about the Fed. I mean, you know, when you have like 3 and 6 month, you know, bills like basically yielding what, like, you know, 0.25, you know, it was so much easy for the United States to, you know, finance all of this garbage debt that were, you know, finance the deficit. But now when you have like literally the 10 years at, you know, 4%, you have the 2 year at, I think it's 3 something. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, all that debt has to get rolled over somehow, right? And I mean, the interest costs on that is going to be ridiculous. I mean, not right this second, but you know, down the line it is. I mean, yeah,
Talking GameStop, pull up computershared.net and just get an update on our directly registered shares. We are at 55.63%.
That's all right?
of the float, or of the free float rather. Yeah. So shares that can be bought that are not held by institutions in mutual funds, in ETFs, by insiders. This stagnant is, I believe that's the shares that are held that are going to store managers.
Yeah.
So this is the directly registered portion. 55.63 based on the bot. And
I think I thought that. I do.
Last week when we were on, it was 54.86. So almost a full percent increase in a week.
It's dangerous if you're trying to find shares to short.
Because to explain this process, when you directly register your shares, they're no longer held in your broker. They're held in ComputerShare. And they're pulled out of the DTCC. So your broker cannot lend those shares to be shorted because your broker doesn't have them anymore. They're yours.
Yeah. I mean, the more that keeps going up, the harder it is, you know, for people to find shares to short.
That's why volume's been drying up, I suspect. Yeah.
No, to be honest with you, I think you're right. Because if there's not freely available shares, you know, people aren't going to pay a premium to trade. You know what I mean? Because the people are just holding them. You know, it's like you said, diamond hands. You know.
My plan is to buy shares directly through ComputerShare going forward.
Yeah.
If you already have shares with them, it only costs you $10 for the trade. I think that's pretty darn reasonable. I remember when Scott Trade was around, it was $7 a trade. That was probably more than 8 years ago.
Yeah. I think
it's $10. I know E-Trade was 10 at the time.
They've probably gone down. I mean,
so you compare this to like a Robinhood where it's free. I could buy on Robinhood and then call them up and directly register them. There's sometimes a fee associated with getting your shares out of Robinhood or transferring to like a Fidelity or something. So the upside to buying directly through ComputerShare, in my opinion, is you're skipping that step. I don't have to get on the phone and call somebody and verify, yeah, I want to directly register those. I had, because we were talking about manipulation, and it was on my list of things to look into for this week. Dead cat bounce was one.
Yeah.
My understanding of a dead cat bounce, you get a run up and then it runs down. You get a 50% run up after that to 50% of what that previous peak was, and then it goes down from there. It's a dead cat bounce. But my other thing was to look into dark pools and try to explain that. This is a long clip, but I think it's worth watching. And I'll play it directly off of the page. This is the SEC's official YouTube page. So you have Mr. Gary Gensler, you can see with the check mark, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Let's watch their video explaining dark pools and payment for order flow, what I just talked about with Robinhood. Let's hear him explain.
That our broker sent. What really happens when we offer to buy or sell a stock? We buy a stock in an app, our order is matched with a seller on an exchange like on NASDAQ, and we become shareholders, right? Well, actually, that's usually not what happens. Instead, if we put in an order on an app to buy a share at the market price, it's more likely that our broker sends our order to what's often called a wholesaler in the dark market. The wholesaler might be paying the broker for the right to execute the order. That's what's called payment for order flow. It's probably obvious why.
And that's why Robinhood trades are free, is they get paid in other ways, like routing orders. So, hey, you route these orders to us, we'll pay you based on the volume or whatever. And that's how they're able to offer trades to you for free. Let's keep listening to Gary Gensler.
Why the app would take this payment. But we may wonder why a wholesaler is willing to pay to trade with us. When we buy or sell a stock, our broker is required to provide us with best execution. We're supposed to get the best price reasonably available, not just a good price. If one of our market orders to buy stock were routed to an exchange, the exchange would need to match our order with the lowest price available on that exchange. That's called competition. Our orders compete against each other to get the best prices. But if the order instead is routed to a wholesaler that has agreed to pay for it, the order is not going to an exchange and is not necessarily receiving the benefit of that broader competition.
He's talking about dark pools. So by not going to that exchange, it's not affecting the price. So if you're buying, the price should be going up.
Yeah.
And your trade is being routed somewhere else, a dark pool, it's not going to a lit exchange. So they route sell orders to the lit exchanges and let them see that, and the price goes down, and the buy orders are hidden in the dark pool, not affecting price as they should.
The wholesaler might sell to us at a price better than the best price shown to the public on the exchange, but not necessarily the best price available. You see, that's because so much of the market is in the dark pools or with the wholesalers in dark, not necessarily competing order by order. These payments, payment for order flow, thus can create conflicts of interest. When the broker's app encourages us to trade, was the broker acting in our best interest or trying to generate more payments from our transactions? Look, some brokers will say that these payments allow them to charge zero commissions, but there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's still cost. We just don't necessarily see it directly. Our market should always be working for us, not just the big actors or the big financial players.
It's never good if the buy orders aren't hitting the, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of It's not the best.
A longer video, but I think that was educational, and it's coming right from the SEC themselves.
No, I know. I mean,
so I know I sounded crazy last week mentioning dark pools. I need to explain dark pools. They're a real thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's just God. I mean, it's not the best, buying securities on dark pools are basically the Wild West, I don't know if they necessarily should be operating, to be perfectly honest with you.
That's kind of what he's getting at.
Yeah, I mean,
but they also ruled that payment for order flow is legal. So, because that was presented and that was shot down.
Yeah. Credit Suisse of all people had a huge fine for these investing in dark pools and whatnot. And within their recent troubles, they can barely afford any more trouble. So, yeah.
Deutsche Bank's still in trouble. You know what I saw about Germany? I saw an article yesterday or the day before. They are passing a bill to pay their citizens, give them, I don't know how it logistically works, but they're going to give all their citizens money to cover their December energy bill, knowing that it's going to go up. So we're in October. They're going to give you money now to pay for December's energy bill. I think it was 40% of those surveyed said they would be unable or have difficulty making payments on their energy bills.
So this is where so I forget what was said. Someone said well, you guys are negative. Well, hey, this is I remember it was another show.
Who said that?
I think it was, I forget who, but it doesn't matter.
Name names.
I don't feel like it now. But here's the thing, though.
What's there to be optimistic about?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. If you really want to, there is nothing to fucking be optimistic about in the economy right now, or geopolitically or whatever. You want the bottom line? Here's the bottom line. You need fucking cheap energy. We don't have it. Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 are blown up. And, and all the people who are well, dude, chill out. Well, no, follow this every day. And this is what, and this is what we're talking about. It's people affecting it affects people's lives. It affects people's businesses. What's happening in Germany, pension funds, what's happening in Germany right now, is only going to spread throughout Europe. Seriously. And it's probably going to spread here. I mean, hey, look, winter electricity in Mass is going up 65% if you have National Grid. And, in Great Britain right now, they're not doing those tax cuts. You think all those people are going to be able to afford their power? That's going to kill the economy. And no, I'm not saying you should live this every, flipping day and but you should probably be aware of what's going on. Great Britain's in a recession right now. Germany's not too far behind. Factories are closing. Someone said they paid 54 euros for a plate of fish and chips in Great Britain, and they need therapy because of it. Maybe you should go out and catch your own fish. I don't really know. There's not much to be optimistic about in the financial sector right now. It's just crazy. Can you imagine how much the power bill? I've seen some of the numbers. They're fucking insane. What in God's name are they going to do? And I have to laugh because, tell me did you see this week supposedly that Biden begged the Saudis to pump more oil with OPEC Plus or something?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe this is my soapbox. What Canada, United States, I don't know enough about the oil in the North Sea. Or whatever. Maybe it's time to start drilling. Because, what we're doing right now is not going to work. Europe just falling into, and maybe it's time to figure out, hey, get the wells running again. And yeah, it's going to take time. And I realize, green energy, it definitely has a place, but when you're talking about like, people who are going to be literally choosing from heating their homes in Europe to like eating, that's not good, and unable to pay. I mean, for God's sakes, it just, I don't know. I don't. And like, you want the Robbie V solution? Well, hey, look, you can't stopgap everyone's freaking like heating. I hate to say that, but you can't. You're gonna go into like debt and devalue and whatever. And no, I don't want anyone to freeze. So you got two options. Number one, like pray for a miracle. Well, but the number two option is you got to get your domestic energy up. Canada's sitting on one of the biggest natural gas, reserves in the world. The United States is sitting on a ton. I mean, how do you get good people, get good paying jobs? And for the people who say, well, Rob V, what about the environment? You make a push to drill and not frack, but drill and produce oil the cleanest way possible. And if you really want it, and for the companies that say who do pollute, and I know they're out there, then you probably say, hey, look, we're gonna fine you to the Stone Age. Like, I don't like. No one's presenting any solutions to any of these problems, and it's about someone needs to, because people on fixed incomes and the work, God forbid, like the working poor are going to have a hell of a time this winter, and it's about time someone figured out some solution to these problems instead of I don't know, virtue signaling and and whatnot. And I'm off.
I saw you mentioned.
I'm off my soapbox.
You mentioned fixed incomes. I saw that Social Security is going to be increasing.
Yeah, 8.3%. I think
they're doing the largest cost of living increase in like 40 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. By the way, I'm for that. I mean, I get things are up.
Yeah,
about it every day. I'm definitely not saying that shouldn't happen.
Things are more expensive. I get it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just nuts, dude. I mean, look at if you want to talk about something that, I mean, mortgage rates are at 7% right now. Housing is going to go to. I mean, you're starting to see in neighborhoods, price drops and whatnot. I mean, it's not going to improve. It's only going to get worse from here, unfortunately. I think the market, housing market definitely is going to continue to go down in many markets. It's not, people's buying power is just getting fucking demolished, which is awful. It's terrible. But
just looking through some notes here.
Yeah,
I got because I still use Robinhood, just to check prices really quick. I would use a different app, but Robinhood lets you log in with just a 4-digit PIN, so I'm pretty sure it's the fastest, and it's pretty slick if I'm being honest. So I still have Robinhood on my phone, and I got a notification on Monday that they're offering 3% interest on cash that you hold in your brokerage account. Trying to borrow your money.
That is essentially borrowing your money.
The title of the notification: earn 23 times the average savings rate.
I mean,
so if you have money in your account, they want to borrow that money, and they'll give you 3% on it.
That might be cheap, and I mean that might be pretty low after the 0.75 hike in November.
I thought that was interesting. We had 2 things out of JP Morgan, or 3 things rather, this week. So Tuesday, their CEO, Jamie Dimon, warned that the U.S. is likely to tip into a recession in 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
Saying, quote, "This is serious." The second bit of JP Morgan news, we talk a lot about stocks and stuff on here. Something more culturally relevant. Kanye West had his JP Morgan accounts closed with no reason given, and they don't have to. It's no different than your brokerage account. They can and will close it for whatever reason they want. And they don't have to just...
No. Did Kanye make a scene, though, in one of the branches? Was that the rumor?
I don't know.
I was trying to find out. I really don't know. But I do know that...
I don't know.
I mean... But no, I mean...
And to compare that to a brokerage account, when you have shares of stock in a brokerage account, ultimately the broker is going to decide what happens to those shares. You can tell them to sell it, and they're supposed to. You can tell them to buy, and they're supposed to. They might actually... You could put in a buy order, and they just change the numbers on your account. I sound crazy saying this, but it happens. You say, I want to buy 5 shares or whatever. They just update your account, and we'll buy it later for a cheaper price, hopefully.
No, I mean...
The third piece of JP Morgan news comes from today. From Zero Hedge. This is a fucking war. Jamie Dimon slams Biden, begging Saudis for oil, says investors don't give a shit about ESG.
I mean, it's definitely letting people know how he feels, to say the least. Begging, like we just said, I mean, why are we begging other countries when we have plenty of reserves ourselves? Right?
I think I mentioned that on here. I know I said it to my boss. It was like, it makes the U.S. look really bad. And before, now people are saying that Biden was begging them to not cut production. I just assume that he was, because that was the optics of it, is, you're begging these guys not to cut production. If you don't, we'll buy 200 million barrels. I know we talked about this last week.
Yeah, the SPR. I mean, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. I mean, they're eventually going to have to refill that. I mean, the $2 million cut, right? I mean, 2 million barrels. He's cutting $2 million of oil.
No, it was Biden's offer was,
oh yeah,
if you don't cut production, we'll buy 200 million barrels.
I mean,
I don't know how much they're cutting production by.
They're cutting production by, I think it's 2 million barrels a day.
Damn.
Yeah, and I mean, we're gonna have to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, regardless. Like, it's not, it doesn't make any financial sense for the United States not to have that. If God forbid anything were to happen, and considering we have so much oil here, like in Gulf of Mexico, off the coast, unexplored Texas, whatever. I mean, Boner Jams, if he was here, could probably, Boner Jams forgotten more about oil than I will ever remember in my life.
Right.
Shout out Boner Jams. I mean, that's just truth. But no, I mean, so like, what are we doing? So what are we doing here? We have all this in the ground. We need to go get it. I mean, Russia's. If we're gonna not like buy oil from Russia, that's fine. But we could definitely fill the supply glut. I mean, we've talked about this. That clip on Macron, he said, Saudis can't pump anymore. He basically told Biden, hey, on the hot mic, you guys got to pump more. And, we're still talking about this, like, 4 or 5 months later. And, and this affects, like, a lot of people say, well, you keep harping on this because it affects everyone financially. It affects your restaurants, it affects your, your heating. It affects the truck drivers. They're, driving your products to Target and whatnot. I mean, yeah. I mean, what do you think? Like, price of diesel goes up to $7. You're not going to feel it somewhere. Like, come on. I mean, the ESG movement. I mean, I don't know. Like, a lot of states are starting to get, starting to divest from people, from, fund groups that are doing that, ripping their money out. And I don't know. I mean, in the dead of winter, really, people really going to keep investing in those if we're sitting here, freezing or paying, $900 a month for, something to be said for that,
I can't afford that.
No, I don't think anyone can. I don't think it will. So let's just all, let's not go doomsday here. But I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know. I think I think there is a move. I mean, I think there is a movement to get back though to get back to some sort of stable energy. I mean, Macron said this week he wants France. I think it was France to for 45. He wants 45 nuclear reactors getting up and running. I mean, I think people are starting to realize the magnitude of this problem they're going to be facing in the winter, and winter's right around the corner. I mean, I love the weather too, but I mean, this row of 60s and 70s is eventually going to go to 30s and 20s. I hate to, break everyone's bubble here, but
France has been on nuclear power for a really long time.
Yeah, no, and
I wrote a French paper about it in high school.
Who knew?
Guy was running for president, Nicolas Sarkozy.
Yeah, Sarkozy. Yeah. No, I mean it's just a lot of people are going to have a lot of tough decisions, and a lot of countries are going to have a lot of tough decisions to make about this, and better figure it out because you're already. I mean, we're not even in winter yet, and you're already starting to see the effects in Great Britain and Germany and our own economy and whatnot. No, it's just wild.
Great Britain's having a rough go of it right now. Had a couple things in the news for them.
Yeah.
Bank of England told pension funds they have 3 days. 3 days to rebalance. I had that 3 days ago, 2 days ago. And the other thing for England was a UK regulator said that crypto investors must be, quote, prepared to lose all their money. I'm not invested in crypto, so I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm not either, honestly.
It's kind of scary. I don't think Bitcoin's going anywhere. I think it's around for the long haul, and Ethereum as well.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people wised up to some of these crypto coins and the schemes that they were scams.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think giving a 3-day balancing window is really prudent. I mean, for fuck's sake, give them a week. I mean, seriously, or maybe 2 weeks. I mean, let's just not.
I think they're really in trouble.
Yeah, I think they are too, and I think but that's what causes calamity though in the financial markets. One of the biggest. I mean, that's one of the biggest lessons from the Lehman Brothers weekend. As everyone came in, I mean, the headlines were coming out, left and right. First, Bank of America was going to buy Lehman, then Barclays, and then supposedly some 11th hour deal, and then you open on Monday, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, Lehman's going under, have a good time. And then the market plummets. I mean, it was probably just quick shotgun, decrees of, hey, you got 3 days to figure this out. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Don't really work. I mean, I can say this now. I mean, I was drunk the whole weekend for Lehman Brothers, so went down to Sully and Barreca's house and party, had a good weekend. Sunday was fucking awful, but the other 2 days were good. Whoops. Actually, Thursday night was pretty good too.
Talk about banks going under, Lehman Brothers, Credit Suisse. We played the clip last week of Kramer suggesting that this would be a good time for a merger. Whoever gets Credit Suisse is going to be looking good. It's a great franchise, he said. You sent me this in a DM. The Fed quietly sent $3.1 billion to Switzerland via a swap line.
Yeah, so that's the first time that this has happened this year.
U.S. hasn't given money to Swiss government.
No. That's the first time the Central Bank of the United States has literally said, you know what? Hey, here you go. 3.1 on the USD swap line. 3.1 billion on the USD swap line. That's the first time. that's not like symptoms of a market that's behaving like rationally, like a credit market that's behaving rationally. I think it was the 10-year of Japan hasn't traded in 3 days or something like that. There hasn't been a single trade. And like this isn't symptoms of like credit markets behaving like good or rational or even functional. It's just there's definitely a lot of red flags, and and for people who are like, oh well, like it's a little tinfoil hatty. Well, that's great. You're entitled to your opinion, but when there's a lot of smoke, there's a fire. And I think just a lot of pay attention. It's the only thing I can tell you.
I found some smoke this week. So when I was in college, I was an accounting major. I'm a professional accountant now.
Mm-hmm.
They signed us all up for the Institute of Internal Auditors, and I still get emails from them, not daily, but maybe once a week or definitely a few times a month. And I thought it was weird that this week they highlighted liquidity risk management specifically for banks. It's a fuzzy screenshot because they want you to buy this course. Providing liquidity risk management assurance for banking institutions is critical for the global financial sector's health. Auditing liquidity risk management for banks. Just thought it was interesting timing for them to highlight that in the little newsletter.
No, it's very interesting.
CNY chapter.
I think that's big time. Very, interesting on the timing. I mean,
not everything's correlated, but we're talking Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank for the last couple of weeks now,
and UBS,
and UBS as well. Thanks. And now I get a thing from internal auditors.
Yeah, I mean,
curious.
The timing of that's ridiculous. I think that's a real. I think that's a real issue though with the liquidity. I mean, Japan, like the yen is getting like smacked every night. Everyone on Twitter is saying like 144, 145. I think it's at 147 right now. The Great British Pound was getting beat worse than freaking Glass Joe and Mike Tyson's Punch Out up until a day ago. I mean, the Euro's on life support. I mean, like it's not. It's not like right now everyone's saying, "Hey, I'm loaning money to everyone." I mean, there is definitely some tightening or to hardening up of the credit markets. And it is interesting that comes out during this point in time. And it's harder to get a mortgage right now. Like there was an article on CNBC, that said, it's 7%. It's tougher to get a down payment. People can't afford as much. I mean, last night for research purposes, I went onto a couple of the real estate websites. I mean, you're starting to see real price cuts. And I'm pretty sure that's because, hey, interest rates are 7%. People can't afford as much,
We played that clip out of Ireland. A guy complaining that, younger generations aren't going to be able to own their own homes because it's too much. You can't save.
I know. No, I mean, it's insane. By the way, not that it means anything now, but I guess I might as well put it on the record. November Fed meeting, 0.75 raise. You can put it. December now. Here's why not go for it. December meeting, 0.75. We haven't seen the last of inflation. It's going to take another month for that shit to cool off.
Another few months.
Yeah, probably.
If you ask me. Talking about mortgages, loosely related, our old friend Ken Griffin in the news again. So it's hard to read, but he had this property and he got it for $24 million, recently appraised at $44 million, and he sold it for 18.5 to A-Rod.
Hey, it's good deal for A-Rod if you got it.
I think it was in Miami.
Yeah, it looks like it. Star Island, or that Star Island Drive. That sounds like it's in Florida.
Yeah, Miami based.
Yeah. Good old Florida. I mean, those poor people in Florida. My heart goes out to them.
Yeah. Shout out Chuck was in the Hit the Rice Bucket chat.
Yeah, I saw that. I hope he's doing well. I genuinely hope so. I mean, Ian was just a fucking monster.
Chief meteorologist Robbie V.
Yeah, that forecast. They botched that shit. By the way, if anyone's on the, watching from the weather service, you can comment if you want to defend that. If you want to go toe to toe on that. No, it's just. It was funny because, it's not funny. It's not at all. But when I was driving home that night, you literally saw, core convection, wrapping around. And it was just like, well, this thing's getting it together. It's not good. It was kind of like when Katrina, I hate to say it, make the comparison because it's a sensitive topic, but Ian and Katrina almost went, they basically strengthened over the same, waters, and very unfortunately. It's a shame that, there wasn't a plume of dry air to just get in there and start wrecking, drying it up. But what are you going to do?
I had a Ken Griffin meme that I sent to the boys on Friday. I thought this was great. Somebody caught, again, my friend and yours, Ken Griffin at a concert.
Oh, Jesus.
When you check your phone at a concert and see that you're still fucked. Thought that was a good one.
Oh, I know.
Got my Friday night started off great.
I know. Well, that's kind of the way it's been, though. You're looking at your phone after the market's closed, and you're just like, holy shit, some of these moves are just insane.
And for people who haven't been following the show, maybe you're new, trying to keep you around here, Ken Griffin runs the top hedge fund on the planet.
Yeah.
That's Citadel LLC. Citadel moved from Chicago to Florida this year.
I'm not surprised.
What was the other one? Was it Caterpillar left there?
Yeah, Caterpillar left Illinois. Yeah.
I think they were in Chicago.
I think they were.
And there's one other that left Chicago.
I think companies that have.
There's another big one.
Chicago. Yeah, that was 2000.
Citadel.
Tyson. Yeah, Tyson
Yep, Tyson Foods.
Yeah. Citadel. I think Caterpillar's left Illinois. Hold on. Yeah, it's Caterpillar, Citadel,
and Tyson.
Tyson,
yeah. I saw that clickbait article. It was like, these companies are leaving Chicago, and here's why. And it's like, because there's a lot of crime there.
Well, that and they tax you to death.
Mm-hmm.
Why
not move to Florida, right?
Yeah, basically. For instance, they have when you buy sports tickets, there's an entertainment tax. Pack a freaking, and I don't smoke, but I remember, in 2019 or 18, whatever it was, a pack of smokes was $15 in Illinois. I was just like, yeah, that's just great. Hey, I'm just here,
Getting there in New York.
Yeah, guy looked at me, he's like, wow, is that a lot of money? It's like, yeah. I'm like, by the way, if you could just get that, pint of Macon, freaking Tito's over here before the flight, that'd be great, No, let's get a move on there, buddy. Jesus Christ. No,
cigarettes are 50 cents a pop now.
I know it's I don't smoke, but it's a joke. Go to New Hampshire. Jesus Christ. No, and what was the other thing about Illinois? The meals tax is just, it's a substantial amount of money. We went, I don't have the receipt on me. It was 5-6 years ago, but it's definitely, substantial amount. I mean, they tax you for everything. Like an Uber, like they had something. I remember looking at the bill. I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" Like, I was like, "Thanks." I mean, I'm glad I could make it out to Chicago. Appreciate it. You know.
I'll say when I was in Haverhill, Mass, last month for work, I was pleased with the Uber prices.
Yeah,
much more reasonable than the only time I really take Uber is to go to a Q's game. So it's much more reasonable than that. It cost me almost $20 to go 2 miles to the Dome.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, there's some more company news. Just announced this week that it's no longer the Carrier Dome, it's the JMA Wireless Dome, and they're gonna put up, I believe it's 5 signs on top of it, changing the city skyline a little bit. The largest one, hang on, I shared this with my buddies. Let me just get those figures for you. So the biggest sign, because they compared it to the Hollywood sign. I don't know, come back to me.
Yeah, Carrier Dome. That'll always be the Carrier Dome. I mean, no one's gonna call it the JMA Wireless Dome. Give me a break.
Got it. 5 signs on top of the dome, the largest being 32 feet by 68 feet. To compare, the Hollywood sign is 45 feet by 350 feet.
Jesus.
So it's almost as tall.
Yeah. No, I mean,
they need that though, because otherwise everyone's still going to call it the Carrier Dome.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'll always call it the Carrier Dome. I'll never.
Or just the Dome.
Yeah. That's like, the people like in Mansfield, like everyone used. So it used to be Great Woods, then it was like the Comcast Center, then it's the Xfinity Center. Now I don't know what the heck it is. I mean, it's probably still the Xfinity Center, but like it'll always just be Great Woods, to certain people. I don't know, but I mean, it's gonna be an interesting ride. Strap in. The ride. Unfortunately, the ride's only begun.
Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, this is your first act. I mean,
I said not AMC because in the Super Stonk community, it's strictly a GameStop related subreddit, so you're not allowed to post about AMC. So people just call it popcorn stock or sticky floor. Bed Bath & Beyond is usually the towel stock. So by get your popcorn ready, I'm not advocating for AMC. I need to look into, so for next week, I want to look into Ape, their preferred equity.
Yeah.
Because it hit like $1.80 this week.
That's a lot.
I think it's worthless.
Yeah. I mean,
I think when they released it was like $5 or something. Ran up like a little bit close to the actual share price of AMC. I'm not a believer.
yeah.
I don't think it's the real. I think GameStop's the real play. The DRS movement. People are directly registering their shares. You can't borrow them nobody can borrow them anymore, and I think this is unprecedented. And we just saw 1% based on the bot. 1% in a week almost is dangerous.
Oh, it definitely is.
And the price goes down lower, it's only going to happen faster.
Yeah, you got that right. I don't really have much more, but I think it's only one thing left to do. Or
let's pump it up.
Pump it up.
You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know?